Hey guys, it's Rob, and you got another episode of RFC RTM1 right here. Now, if this was like a big budget show, I would have said that, like all this media, music, and all that would just come at you, and this would happen on the screen. Not my hands, like colors, like, oh, but it's not. I'm just a guy in my bedroom with a webcam. I don't really have much to talk about this week. I don't want to say it's a slow news week, or that we're in a botcon lull because there's news reported every day. So it doesn't really, I don't really agree with that sentiment like a lot of people do. However, I guess important or relevant news might be what they're talking about. And interesting news, that was a booger. Looks like there's going to be a Masterpiece Soundwave. Spoiler alert, it's on everyone's Facebook. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell by those pictures, but it looks like it'll be pretty cool. I'm actually really excited for that. I was pretty excited here about Sideswipe. I know a lot of people weren't, but F them, man. Sideswipe, yeah. Um, you know, it's really cool to see someone other than Optimus and Megatron get all the attention. With Sideswipe, sure. It really went until the G2 version until I got really nuts about Sideswipe. But he's like the great kind of generic, just car bot. He's like just a standard car-based Autobot form. And yeah, as we know with the Masterpiece toys, they get redecoed 1,001 times, and then another time for like just in case you didn't have another black version. And so with a body base like that of just a basic car bot, they actually have something they could probably work with several times, make several interesting things. Not just another Seeker, or hey, why is there an Optimus repaint that's black again? Is he a Decepticon this time? Oh, and is he's new clone? Oh, he's dead. Or hey, he's into Metallica. You know, um, Stuff like that. It's like with Grimlock, you got like what the comic redeco be based more on his Marvel comic characters, and then there's the U.S. version, which is kind of like a middle ground. And so that's basically third versions of Grimlock with very slight differences. And like Rodimus, you get like, of course, the standard black and purple repaint that always happens in Japan, and a U.S. version which is just slightly different. You know, there I go again. I did that again. I don't even know why I do that. Do I do it all the time? I'm starting to wonder. Anyway, it's just kind of like, Megatron, you're kind of limited. And then Optimus gets 1,000 repaints because he's Optimus freaking Prime. That's just how these things go. So with Sideswipe, you get, of course, regular, a G2, and maybe a Movies Color one where he's silver, which would look pretty nice. And then you got like all those guys like Red Alert and Deep Cover. Cool stuff could come to us breakdown. Hopefully a G2 breakdown, because that's the version of breakdown I really give a crap about. Because that's the I don't know why my brain works this way. It just does. But that's definitely, to me, pretty cool. And with Soundwave coming out, you get Soundwave and Soundwave. You get Soundwave or new Soundwave, black or blue, and maybe a white version, and that's it. Sound Blaster, Soundwave. They might do an extensive retool and make a blaster, which would be nice. And I'm pretty excited. I wonder if it's going to come with like Masterpiece cassettes. Obviously, Laserbeak would probably be the easier of them, just because the way Laserbeak generally works with spreading out open. So if he comes with a cassette, it's probably going to be Laserbeak or Buzzsaw. I would imagine Laserbeak because he's the more popular of the cassettes, but you never really know unless they plan to put out a line of Masterpiece cassettes. Wow, my brain just exploded. That sounded awesome, didn't it? Speaking of random ways my mind works, the other week, by the way, allergy. Last weekend, I was at my girlfriend's house, and we were watching a Family Guy rerun, because I don't know about in your area, but here Family Guy is practically on every minute of the day. And we were watching a Family Guy rerun, and it happened to be the When You Wish Upon a Weinstein episode. which of course is the one where there goes the screensaver. So if I get a little, I had a seizure. Um, it's the episode where Peter discovers Judaism, basically, or basically knows. He just kind of, it was a little offensive at the time. I think they re-edited it not to be so offensive, but it's mostly known to us for the Optimus Prime. What's Optimus Prime? It sounds like something you buy at a flea market. Anyway, the Optimus Prime reference, which now a Transformers reference is no big deal. Every show manages to reference 1,000 things at one time. You know, you got your Big Bang Theory, your Community. Yeah, put them in the same sentence. Forgive me, Internet. Um, Futurama, all the Simpsons, all Transformers, GI Joe, Star Trek. They get referenced like crazy. But at the time, it was kind of a big deal. And for some of you that were more around at the time, and I can't speak for everyone because someone might not have either been around in the fan base at the time for whatever reason, or just wasn't even involved in the whole thing. But at the time, when that kind of came to light, it was kind of a big deal because people were like, if you guys will remember, Family Guy kind of came and went. And it wasn't until the reruns and DVD sales that it got big enough to bring back and became what it is now. It started kind of going around that there was an Optimus Prime reference. And then Cartoon Network edited the showdown because apparently that episode was too controversial to put on TV because of all the Jewish jokes. And, like Peter sings a song "When You Wish Upon a Jew" and stuff like that. They edited it enough to make it not so offensive and just like, hey, they're jokes. And they made a big deal about this episode's coming on, and people who only had the box sets really knew about it. So a lot of people in the fandom were really kind of like, yeah, let's see this episode. And Cartoon Network with Adult Swim, when it was kind of in its infancy, plugged the crap out of this. They were like, we're going to show it. We're going to show it. And then they get to today. It's coming, and people are waiting to watch it. And an episode of Big O comes on instead. And then, like, within the first commercial break, Cartoon Network says, whoops. Apparently there's some mistake. And they said, and then they, like, for the next week saying, next week we're going to show it for sure. And people were like, what the hell? It was even a rerun of Big O. So it was like, oh, and it finally came on. People were like, yeah. And, like, I recall seeing custom shortly follow of a Jewish Optimus Prime using the Power Master toy with the little scarf thing. I don't know what it's called. You guys gotta forgive me. And the little hat. Once again, I don't know what they're called, so forgive me for my ignorance. And I saw a lot of those, and it was fun. It was fun. And today, I said it twice, like Macho Man. Ooh yeah. And at the time, it was kind of cool because it was pretty back then. Like on old message boards, your Usenets and your little Yahoo clubs and whatever. People were kind of like archiving Transformers references in media. And at the time, you could pretty much do so pretty easily. And at the time, that was kind of a big deal. I remember when someone on WWF at the time, Raw, and on the front rows of the audience was holding a poster board with a Decepticon logo on it that they drawn with like Crayola or something. And people were like, did you see that on Raw? Yeah! And now if they didn't, no one even bat an eye. I remember, I think it was around 2001, the Afro Man song, When I Got High, which was a kind of a hit, maybe minor hit, big hit at the time. In a part of the video, he's wearing a Decepticon t-shirt. And people were like, dude, Afro Man likes Transformers. And it kind of got to the point where if any time there was a Transformers anything, it meant they were a member of the fandom. They're huge. I wonder who they are. And it's like, you know what? They're probably just someone who likes them and think they're cool. And you don't really get that anymore because the times changed. And, I was thinking about this when we were watching the show, and I didn't mention any of it to my girlfriend because I know I ramble about these things enough. So I kind of was like, this time I was conscious enough to be like, just not talk about robots for 5 seconds. And that just kind of, people, we don't do that anymore. Occasionally it's like, hey, there's going to be a Transformer scale robot chicken. We're like, yeah, another one. But, I guess the excitement of that then, whereas Czech has Soda Palooza going on. Yeah. The excitement of all that going on was pretty cool for me. It's pretty cool to remember how times have changed in this fan base. We've gone to basically being a G.I. Joe's redheaded step cousin to basically, and there goes the screensaver again, to basically being pretty much a big thing. You know, we're still not kind of respected among a lot of fan types, but definitely Transformers fandom is a much more widely accepted thing now, which is funny because since the movies, there's almost been like a subsection of the fandom of its own version of the Transformers fandom that's grown and sidestepped us, like the ones that've been around, and that. And sometimes we meet each other and we're like, "Yeah, we knew about you. Yeah, we knew about you. Who are you?" You know, we're like, "You going to BotCon? What's a BotCon?" You know, I'm gonna go see the ride. That's just an observation. It might not be the most correct in the world. Just to me, it's kind of an amusing thing that this fandom's grown so much that while it's not a mainstream thing, it's definitely getting close to it, or at least a more recognized thing. You know, I've got a coworker at work who's 22, and you know, I guess so. '07 happened. He was like 15, 16. My math is terrible, and so he's like, "You just don't look like the Transformers type to me," and I'm like, "Really? What's up?" And I'm just kind of thinking, what is he even talking about? But for someone his age, it might be a completely breed of dork look or something, because he's used to these guys that came around from the movies. And that's pretty much all he knows is the movies, and he kind of remembers Armada. You know, apparently he had a life growing up, and I didn't. But just these little things. I'm rambling. This is Vehicon, and Vehicon's a really cool toy. If you can find one, go get one. I kind of wish I was kept with the Eradicon names, but Vehicon's not too bad. I don't mind them reusing the classic name from Beast Machines. At this point, it's 12 minutes in, and I've talked myself enough that I'm a little out of breath. I think I'm kind of hyper. I'm always a little hyper, so it's kind of like, hey, you're hyper? Ooh. So yeah. That's it for this episode of RFC RTM1. Yeah. Do you guys feel better for watching that? I feel better for making it. I have a new camera. I bought it this weekend. And I'm using the built-on microphone. And I kind of rambled a little this time. I just woke up, actually, believe it or not. Went to bed at like 7:30 this morning and woke up at like 2:20, maybe 2:30 in the afternoon, because I got to go to work here in a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? Now's the time to make this episode, or I'm never going to make it. And so I'm making it. Hopefully I have it uploaded tomorrow, because I'm not taking the time to do it today. I've got to like brush my teeth and stuff, and that takes like an hour. I'm joking. So, hope you guys all enjoyed it, and thanks everyone for watching. And hopefully the next episode will be up sooner and won't be so manic. And maybe it'll be manic. We all hope so. Check out tfradio.net for shows and showtimes. Yeah.